Marechiare festa, che bella cosa, una giornata al sole, ma nato sole, più bello in me, un sole mio, sta fronte a te.
My grin, her glance could be another new romance. I shoot, I score, and then I'm boom, in love once more.
They're dancing on Erin, Canarsie,
Where I'm
and
from,
waltzing above Sheepshead Bay.
We feel like forgiving the Dodgers for moving from here to LA. I say the natives, my love raging on, just the furnace of a passion burning wild and hot.
Let me be, let me die here.
No, I will not. If you flee, I will die here on this cursed spot. Juliet.
Don't you get I ain't your freaking Juliet? I know.
Tender word.
Doesn't matter
One
now.
word is music.
There's music. No love can stop.
Let your beautiful music play.
Well, here we are, back in Mia's world, back in the saddle again. Welcome to my world. Welcome to the world of Romeo and Bernadette. This is a fabulous world, and we're back. And they're back after 2 years of waiting and waiting, almost as long as Juliet's waiting. But anyway, here we are with Mia's world. Welcome to the world. Welcome to Jade Zabric, my engineer. And we've got a great show tonight with some fabulous actors, singers. We've got Nikita Burshteyn playing Romeo. We've got Anna Kostakis playing Juliet Bernadette. We've got Valjean Rucker. I am so sorry, Valjean Rucker, playing many roles. many roles. Roz and how do I pronounce her name?
Viola, Roz, Arden, the Usher, Father Keneally, Enzo Illyria.
It goes on and on.
The list goes on.
Last but not least, Judy McLane playing Camille. And so we've got this great cast and this great show, Romeo and Bernadette. And before we get into the whole conversation with my beautiful cast, we've got a few little trivia things to talk about. So first of all, we always do this on Mia's World. We just talk about May 30th today is when we're taping. So a few birthdays today. Benny Goodman, the King of Swing, was born today in 1909. American singer Idina Menzel, born in 1971. Peter Carl Fabergé, the Russian goldsmith, the famous Fabergé eggs, born in 1846. And Russian philosopher Mikhail Bakunin in 1814. Boris Pasternak died on this day, the Russian poet and Nobel Prize laureate, 1960. Voltaire, the French philosopher, died this day in 1778. And Joan of Arc died May 30th, 1431. Since we're going back in time anyway, today in history, Joan of Arc was burned at the stake in 1431, accused of witchcraft. 1868, Decoration Day, later called Memorial Day, was first observed. 1911, the first Indianapolis 500 race was run, May 30th, 1911. 1922, the Lincoln Memorial honoring Abe Lincoln for the 16th president of the United States. And in 1964, the Beatles' Love Me Do on May 30th single went #1 in the United States. Today's holidays, May 30th, Memorial Day, of course. My bucket's got a hole in it day. It's National Creativity Day, and we've got a great creative cast here. National Mint Julep Day. Where's our mint juleps? it's Water a Flower Day and World MS Day. So just a few little trivias. Then we've got, I always have been doing this for once a week, I think, for maybe 12 years. We rhyme the news. So here's the news to turn the gloom into bloom, as I say. We don't want to become bitter, but we can't keep up with Twitter. From dawn to dusk, Mr. Elon Musk is pitching a no-hitter. Will he get a pass or fail? He wants free speech to prevail. Will his heroic past with Tesla last? He's like the Holy Grail. Haven't we heard enough of Amber and Johnny stuff? The sordid trial filled with denial, it's gritty, gray, and gruff. What is Biden's position on China? What's his mission? Would he go to war for Taiwan? Not sure. There's international fishing. Gas prices are rising higher. Can't afford to buy a spare tire. Should we all ditch our cars and start biking to Mars? Economy's looking dire. Our hearts are broken again. Uvalde has threatened our zen. We're saddened and steaming. It feels like we're dreaming. It's way more than who, what, where, when. And it's National Mint Julep Day, so stir and sip away. Derby horses were stunning. Belmont next, they are running. Now where is my Chardonnay? And that's what the rhyming wrap up of the week. And just to tell you what we played in the introductory medley, we first heard the beautiful Brazilian singer Alexia Bomtempo singing I'm in Love Again, the song by Cy Coleman, Peggy Lee, and Bill Schluger. Then, in honor of Romeo and Bernadette, which is many of the musical songs are based on old Italian Neapolitan songs and chamber art songs. So in that theme, I was played O Solo Mio, which was the basis of Elvis's Now or Never. And that was sung by Emilia Uzun on Italian TV. And then finally, we saw a montage of the incredible, brilliant cast from Romeo and Bernadette. So now, my beautiful cast, welcome to Mia's World. Anna Kostakis, Nikita Burshteyn, Troy Valjean Rucker, and Judy McLane. And we have a few photos of the cast and of you guys and gals. So we'll have a little photo montage. And we're really, this is so exciting. I cannot believe that you guys are back finally. I don't even know how patient you have had to be to get to this point, because when I last saw you, you were about to open and then the pandemic hit. And 2 years later, here you are. So I'm just overwhelmed with the whole situation. So we're talking about Romeo and Juliet and Romeo and Bernadette. So maybe you could first establish the plot. It's basically Romeo and Juliet coming into the 60s Brooklyn, right? Somebody jump in and describe this plot.
So I did this last time, so let's do it again. If we know the premise of Romeo and Juliet, Juliet takes a sleeping potion, Romeo finds her, he then kills himself, and then Juliet wakes up from the sleeping potion and then sees him and then stabs herself, kills herself, right? In our version, Romeo takes the sleeping potion as well, instead of dying. And Juliet wakes up to find him and she stabs himself. So because Romeo has taken the sleeping potion and a ton of it, he subsequently wakes up in 1960s Brooklyn, or no, in the 1960s. He finds Bernadette, who is a Juliet lookalike, by some magical spell. She is this Juliet lookalike, and follows her to Brooklyn, which then ensues this 1960s crazy parallel universe of the Montagues and the Capulets, but instead it's the Penzas and the Del Cantos and the Penzas. So he is out in Brooklyn trying to find his Bernadette / Juliet. He befriends a member of the Del Canto family, and chaos ensues. So that's kind of the premise of the show.
Well, had any of you been to Brooklyn before this, by the way? Because I just wondered if you had been to Canarsie or Coney Island or any of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Sure.
So you're kind of
Yes.
At this point.
Yeah.
When I first moved to New York City, I went to Coney Island because I wanted the whole experience.
So you're not, I mean, you're from upstate New York, Anna?
Yes, I'm
And-
five hours up north.
And Judy?
I'm originally from Pennsylvania, but it's funny because I went to Brooklyn a couple Christmases ago and walked around and saw some of the old brownstones where a lot of the Italians live, and the Christmas decorations were phenomenal. Just these amazing, yeah, over the
And
top,
yeah,
fabulous decorations, very, very Italian looking, which is really great. So it's, I hopefully we capture the essence of Brooklyn in that time period.
Oh my God. Well, I was talking to Mark Saltzman, who wrote the book and lyrics about the origin of Romeo and Bernadette. And he said he was thinking about how Romeo and Juliet ends in tragedy, but started with comedy. And he thought, what if it did not end in tragedy? And if it had a happy ending, what would it look like? So he said there's lots of wisecracks and pranks, and like when Dino loans Romeo some of the Brooklyn clothes instead of the Renaissance costume, or is she within walking distance? And so I guess my question is, was it fun to turn a tragedy into a comedy, or were any special scenes more fun than others? So jump in, anyone, anytime.
Well, with that, I would love to say shout out to Mark Saltzman, who's a brilliant writer who himself has 7 Emmy Awards, 7 Emmys for writing. So we are so lucky to have his book because he's clever and funny and just a joy of a person. So I want to give a shout out to him because his book is what really makes it so amazing, and his lyrics as well that we get to do every night. So
absolutely. I mean, rhymes like Moet and Juliet and forget, regret.
All true rhymes too. There's not one that is not a true rhyme in that show.
Exactly.
Not
They're
one.
Amazing rhymes. So Mark, kudos.
Yep.
And he created Bert and Ernie for Sesame Street.
Yes.
Ernie was my
He didn't
favorite
create
character.
them. No, Troy. He didn't create them actually, but he did write for them.
He wrote for them. Yeah.
He wrote for. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So back to my question, like about any scenes, turning tragedy into comedy, or any scenes that pop out that were more just fun to play for you guys. Anything in particular scenes that?
for me, the bridge, the balcony scene, is a very famous Romeo and Juliet scene, and which I've done in college for acting, and in a more serious sense, and just doing it, there is moments of realness in that scene in our show, but of course Mark interjects like the "forget about it" line, and Bernadette is like, now he's singing, and then she kind of falls for the song. But the kind of the bookends of the scene are very comedic, and I think it's a great little twist, because inside of it, the meat of it, you get the realness, and this is when the audience buys that Bernadette is falling in love with Romeo, but it's still surrounded by comedy, and it's still rooted in comedy, and I think that's a really good juxtaposition of the Romeo and Juliet that everyone knows, the iconic bridge scene, and then our show, which is this awesome comedic play on it.
Yeah.
To add to that scene, I think it's such a beautiful balance between sincerity and comedy, that balcony scene, and it to have an original balcony scene again, because you go from Romeo and Juliet and you have West Side Story, and each one of them has this very iconic balcony scene in and of itself, and then Mark creates this new one that just has this beautiful balance of the love and affection that he shares for Juliet, or in this case though Bernadette, and at the same time these moments of him trying to relate to what is the modern day at that moment by saying things like, oh, you're gonna marry him, essentially, well, I say to you, forget about it. It's just, it's brilliant.
The touching and the comedic, it's hilarious, actually. I mean, and Anna, your Brooklyn accent is pretty amazing.
Thank you.
You guys,
I have fun.
Yeah, it surely sounds that way, and I think the audience laughs so much, and it's constant radiance and exuberance and hilarity. Did you guys improvise at all, or was it just perfectly scripted and you're not, were you able to veer off? And by the way, the brilliant director, Justin Ross Cohen, producer Eric Krebs, got to mention them too. And yes, of course, musical director too. The music, Aaron Gandy is the music director, and Steve Orich did the incredible orchestrations and arrangements. So back to my question was, yes, did you improvise at all, or?
No, there's not really any improvising. I mean, what Mark wrote is already like so great and so funny. And I don't think any of us would want to like touch what he has because it's just such gold there. But we, along the process, we did offer suggestions or ask for changes, maybe things that we felt worked better for us as actors in the show. And he heard some of the things that we suggested and put them into the show. So it's great. I mean, he's a great collaborator in that way.
What about names? Like Judy, your family in the play comes from Verona, and it's the Scazzofaros, is it? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that.
From what? What did you say? I'm sorry, I
The
lost one part.
Scazzavavas.
Scazzafava. Scazzafavas.
Is that
The
his name?
Scazzafavas.
Who came
Well,
up?
that's why he kind of creates the likeness, Juliet's likeness, because Camille, who would be Lady Capulet probably, right? Or the mother of Juliet. So the likeness comes because her family goes back to Verona, and has a distant relationship with the Capulets. That's why, hence, Bernadette has a likeness to Juliet. So that's how he ties it all together. It's very clever.
And the name, the way it rolls off your tongue. I mean, I thought maybe you came up with the name because you say it with gusto.
I did speak to Mark about that name, though, and he chose it partially because it has a lot of open vowels, Scazzafava. So it's really wonderful to sing, right? Scazzafava. It's got a ring to it. It's got a nice, it's easy to roll off the tongue, so I say.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And now, Troy, I mean, how did you audition so that with all these different roles in mind, or did you just land the role and they threw all these roles? You play the florist and the dance teacher and Enzo, and it's just remarkable how you morph into all these different roles. It's staggering.
Well, thanks. The material was to come in and do all these roles. There was snippets from most of the scenes for all the characters, but also vocally. The challenge was vocally because they wanted somebody to come in and sing an Italian opera aria. They wanted a 60s pop song. They wanted a contemporary musical theater song. They wanted a traditional musical theater song. So I'm just like going through my book through the entire audition, like singing some of my opera rep, and then singing some musical theater rep, then singing some pop rep. So, and then trying out a few of the characters. Yeah.
I thought I had it hard when I auditioned.
Did all of you have to do various styles of music? Like, did you have to do Italian arias or anything?
I actually never auditioned for the piece. I met Justin, the director, many years ago at a screening of an independent film that I did, and he happened in Florida. And he said, he had seen the film, and he said, you're really right for this character in a show that I hope to be putting on. So then I got to do the reading at a mosque, which was the first reading of it. It had a production many years ago at Paper Mill, but this was the reading that Justin was directing. So that was kind of like my audition, the reading of it. Yeah.
You never know when people see you and where and how and when.
And when you meet someone, right, what it'll turn into, right?
Exactly right.
Kind of fun.
Yeah, no. Also, that person needs to have the perception to know and to remember. So obviously Justin did.
But it was funny because I go back to singing a lot of the opera stuff, like, the more classical way of singing is how I really started out. I didn't start out as like a belter necessarily. I had to learn later on. I made more of a career belting than I did maybe singing like more classical music, right? So it's fun in this to go back to my background, which was initially. Wow.
So were you all trained classically? Did you all study theater? Or let's hear the background.
Well, I was trained I went to Ithaca College, so I went for music there actually. Yeah.
Ithaca. Mark and I went to Cornell, so we're Ithaca.
Oh, good. Ithaca, yeah.
We love upstate New York.
We love upstate New York.
The real upstate. What did I do? Before going to college for musical theater, I started taking voice lessons at the Eastman School of Music. And also that was like more so the classical end, but then I was like, I want to belt because, musical theater. And I didn't know how to belt at all. And I started taking some voice lessons at like my local dance studio because they offered them there. And then I went to college for musical theater. My story.
Sticking to it.
Yeah.
And I started. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Troy. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I started classical as well. First with instruments. I went to school first as a performance major for the oboe, and I play a bunch of other instruments, woodwinds primarily. And then I started studying voice, and then after that I went to school for theater. But all of my training in the beginning was all classical. So.
I didn't go to school for musical theater or voice, but I had a brilliant vocal coach back for my home from the Bay Area. Shout out to my vocal coach Matthew Leibowitz, who's out there. But he had we covered multiple aspects of voice, but it was very much classically oriented. I mean, and he would go, he had a brilliant area in opera as well, and I think that's where that is where it adds to what is occurring in the show. And my vocal coach here in New York, Michael Ricciardoni, who also helped out in that aspect of the classical side of Romeo.
It's unbelievable. And the way you all blend, I mean, was that part of the audition process too, to see how you all blended together, or just you were right for the role and let's see how it works?
I'm not sure. Did anybody read with anybody else or do anything?
I only saw Anna at a callback.
Outside of a room, not in the room.
Outside of the room, not in the room. For example, I just read, I had a reader in the room, and I didn't even sing music from the show. And I sang, my song was Be My Love from Mario Danza. Which was, and it was great because so many of the songs that he has sung are actually from the show itself, which fits so brilliantly. But no, I didn't see any of
how
the
you
cast.
all blend. So, I mean, it feels as an audience observer, it feels like you're totally family, all of you. I mean, it's like you merged together somehow. I know you've been together a while, but it's just pretty phenomenal because not all casts, you don't feel that way. Some feel choppy and some feel staccato, whatever the word is, but it just feels right, and the fact that you were all available after 2 years is also interesting. So let's go, and then we'll play some more music, but I just want to hear what you all did during the 2 years, and how did you stay positive? Did you expect to come back? And what did you do during that time period?
Who's gonna start?
Anna, you start with an A.
I'm the starter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, starter.
No, Judy, you go. I need to think. I don't even remember what I did.
It was an interesting time for all of us, right? We had to start I did many concerts online type of things, videos, which I hate doing, my own, you become the lighting designer, the set designer, the hair and makeup person. So it's very frustrating. All of us know what that is, the self-taping kind of thing. So I did a lot of that kind of thing for theaters, that I'd done shows at. A lot of them were doing concerts and benefits. But I literally actually did my first directing and choreography, which was really, really fun.
Wow.
And we did it wearing masks. And I did it at a school up in New Canaan. A friend of mine called up and said, would you direct and choreograph this show? And it was supposed to be one show, and it ended up being another one, which would a show called Hello Girls, which was about switchboard operators in World War I and how they were had a very cool story, and how they were very had influenced winning the World War I. Right. Oddly enough, it was also during the last pandemic. World War I, right? So we were in masks, but I had all these pictures on the videos of people in masks, the operators in masks from that time period. So it was really kind of fascinating how it got married together. So that was a ball. The directing was something I loved doing, and it was a blast to do. And then I started doing a lot more teaching voice. I teach voice, private voice, and also voice classes, voice technique classes. So I started doing that on Zoom quite a bit. And it was great because I could teach people all over the world. So I was having people in Russia and people here, and Virginia or wherever they were,
Beautiful part of the.
So that's been great, and that's continuing to be a part of my life, teaching on Zoom, which makes it a lot easier when you're a performer as well. And then I was talking earlier, before we started the show, that my family really became so tight because we do Zoom twice a week, and we all really, I helped my nieces with their dancing. I taught them singing. So, it was really kind of an interesting time. I bought a car, so when we were able to travel, I got to see family more and get out of town, but I stayed here for the whole pandemic in New York City, and that was truly a challenge. My building would get together at 6 o'clock every day and sing a song out our windows, and along with the clapping at 7 o'clock. So it was an emotional time. It was a roller coaster, but it was also a kind of an exploring other different venues for me. It was really kind of fun. That
Beautiful
part
to
of it.
hear these things. I love hearing what people have done.
Yeah.
How about you,
Yeah.
Nikita? I know something big happened during the pandemic. for you.
Something big happened. Yeah, it was beautiful, and I can't believe it's almost coming up. I think it's 2 months until it's going to be a year. A year, our 1 year
That's
anniversary.
insane. I feel like you guys just
a
got
little
married.
more. It feels that way too. But August 14th, guys, is going to be our 1 year anniversary.
Huge.
Unbelievable. Thank you. But yeah, I left. We had about 3 days of tech when we were at Theater Row, and then we shut down, and then one of my cast members told us that they were potentially going to shut Manhattan down, so you wouldn't be able to get out. And so I booked that flight the following day, and I got back to the Bay Area, and I stayed there for a year and a half at least. I'm so thankful. My family was there, and my wife, fiance at the time, well, actually still girlfriend at the time, then became fiance later that year, which was September 2020, and then we got married in August of 2021. But in between that time, just like Judy, I did a bunch of, on my birthday, I said, no surprise birthday, this is what I want. It's going to be a bunch of equipment for filming, microphones, backdrops, you name it. And it was, it's because, and I got this fantastic setup and was able to, I started doing concerts online. Everybody was asking me, are you available for this, that? And that was the life. I think it was the life for a lot of us. And after that, finally started to kind of get back into the swing of things, and did the live thing here, would come do a coaching there, and then once we got married, it went to our honeymoon, and Liz got called back to, my wife is a Radio City Rockette, so she got back for this call back for the season, and then we drove cross country with a car towed behind us and a U-Haul truck, and now finally, are back here, and a cat. So thankful for, but and finally, it's so great to be back here in the city. I missed it so much. But I watched all those videos of people just supporting one another here in the city, and including you, Mia, those amazing dance videos, like I mentioned earlier, and but I'm just so thankful for my family that we would do something with Judy, like you. We were very close with one another. We would watch, we would pick an actor that we like, and we'd go through the history of all their movies. And every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, we'd watch their movies consecutively based on their careers.
That's so awesome. I want to do that now.
Of those. Yeah. I think we got through all of Tom Hanks' films that way. I was this close because I left back for California, but it was shocking. I haven't seen so many of his movies, and some of the ones when he was like starting out are amazing. Like I was like, I didn't even know this existed. So it was so much fun. Yeah, we're very close, super close.
I know. So, I saw a lot of road trips from all of you.
Oh, lots of road trips, and then the matching outfits and everything. I'm game. I mean, I love that. I love that stuff. And my wife is there, and my brother's girlfriend is there, and we have all these matching sweatshirts and T-shirts, and everybody who sees us is like, "Oh, this is awesome! You guys are so cool." I was like, "I'm glad you guys think so."
Great. How about you, Troy? What did you do?
I did a lot of cooking early on before summer hit, and it just got too hot. Then I just ordered Uber Eats, and but I did a lot of cooking, family and friends. We had our weekly meetups, sometimes a couple times a week on Zoom and do like Wine Wednesdays, or everybody fixes a cocktail and we talk about stuff. And and a couple road trips home to Detroit. I took a Labor Day trip. I went once for my youngest sister got married. So there was a wedding. I went for Thanksgiving, which I hadn't been home for Thanksgiving in like 20 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Because, it's just so hard when you're busy, you're away working, you can't get back for the holidays.
Right. Yeah.
So that happened. That was great. And then with work, there was a lot of readings and workshops of plays and musicals over Zoom, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Some voiceover things here and there, but I didn't get back to like working in person until this past September, 2021. So.
And was it in the back of your mind that you were definitely going to come back? Did you know that you would be back doing the show, or did you not know?
We didn't know, actually.
Yeah. Nobody could say anything. Nobody could set a date. You just didn't know. We know they wanted to. Our producer was very much in touch with us throughout the entire pandemic. And we knew that whenever they could, they would try their best to bring it back, but we just didn't know.
Unbelievable. And Anna, we didn't get to you yet about what you did. I know you were doing some babysitting when I first talked to you, and I think you went back to your family's business, maybe?
A lot of family time. Yeah, I went back upstate New York. I still had my lease for my apartment, but I just paid for it as I was back home because just being in the city didn't make sense for me at the time. And my family owns a restaurant. So not only did Broadway shut down, but all businesses changed their formats, all industries shut down, changed, had to pivot. So we closed our indoor dining, but luckily we're more in the country and stuff. So we were able to do like curbside pickups, and it was really sweet to see the community support us and come together. And we would have people from the town just come and like bring us little goodies while we were working. And it was literally just my mom, my stepdad, me, and this one girl from college who was like home because college was online. And it was just the four of us, like every day we wanted to kill each other, but we made it work. And my sister has 2 little babies. So I was able, a lot of things didn't go right, with COVID, but we tried to look at all the positives. And I wouldn't have been able to spend almost 2 years watching my niece and nephew grow up. So that was beautiful. And my sister and her fiance moved into the basement of her house with their cat, a dog. It was just like chaos. So anytime I try to do like a voice lesson on Zoom, there would be like people opening doors and leaving, and chaotic. But I look back on it and I look at some of those times fondly, actually, because we forget to take a second and stop with our crazy lives.
Did you also work at a hair salon, or no? Am I wrong?
No, I started actually teaching voice lessons at the Dance Artistic Center studio that I started at. Hair salon, I cut my hair short, I went blonde. I did a lot of fun things because I didn't have to look like my headshot. Yeah, so maybe I was just at the salon a lot documenting it, because that sounds like me.
I know that having seen the show, at least 6 or 7 times now, from before and now after, it's totally, you can't put your finger on it, but it's definitely tweaked, and it's tweaked for the better. I mean, it's so vibrant. The costumes are different. Joseph Schroep, is that the costume?
Correct.
Joseph Schroep, yeah.
Joseph
Phenomenal.
And
Phenomenal.
he did an amazing job.
Yeah, I mean, some of the black little cocktail black dress at the end, and the hats, and Mark was talking to me about that, how the influence of the 60s fashion, Balenciaga, and the Jackie Kennedy look, and the Audrey Hepburn looks, and the Doris Day looks, and all that. It's so brilliantly presented on stage. It's so vibrant to watch. It's just, it's just fun. So much fun. Is it fun to wear the clothes for all of you?
Oh gosh, yeah, you're kidding. Fabulous.
It's so
that
fun.
era is so beautiful.
Oh my God, I know.
And Joseph did an amazing job upping the ante on the costumes and really finessing them more and making us feel like $1 million.
Oh my God.
And looking like $1,000,000.
Yeah,
Mhm.
boy, you in the florist scene and the wedding dressing scene. It's just, I can't give anything away, but you gotta
And
go.
on an off-Broadway budget too. I mean, it's not like he has a Broadway budget, but
Yes.
that's the beauty of Joseph. He takes a dress that's just a plain dress and then he adds to it the trim, the buttons, the fringe, the feathers, whatever he does,
Accessorize.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's brilliant at
He
that. The
also
jewelry.
was, yes. And I want to just add, he was and has been and will be amazing at along the way tweaking things and listening to us. And if I come to him and text to him right now and I'm like, these shoes aren't really working for me, I've tried to make them work, can we try to get another pair? That is a real life example. And the next day he ordered another pair, got it to work, and I feel very lucky to have someone in that department that you can trust so much. And feeling good is a lot of the part too. So
He also works for the New York Ballet, so he's
Classy
Yeah.
cast,
Yeah.
classy producers. Let me just say, Romeo and Bernadette is at Theater 555, and that's 555 West 42nd Street, and it's next to the Romeo and Juliet Cafe.
That's right.
Hysterical.
It is.
And okay, let's go hear some of the music that we were talking about, influenced by older Italian songs. So Jade, if you could play 4 and 5. So 4 is Caro Mio Bien, one of the famous Italian songs by Giordani. And then go into number 5, which is One Tender Word from Romeo and Bernadette. So so you could hear that phrase, da 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 da, Caro mio bien, one tender word. It's such a beautiful thread. The whole concept of that is amazing to me. Let's hear another one, because one of my favorite songs in the whole show, and I happened to see the show, it was right near the full moon, and Moonlight was on my mind, and then you're singing Moonlight Tonight over Brooklyn, and you're talking about the Champs-Élysées and Canarsie, and oh my God, it's hilarious. So the original song, that Moonlight Tonight over Brooklyn, is based on Mattinata, which is a morning song. And I just read a little bit of history here by Leoncavallo, an Italian opera composer. And it was the first song ever written for the gramophone company in 1904. The song was dedicated to Enrico Caruso, who was the first to record it with the composer at the piano. Who knew? So number 6 and 7 is Mattinata, morning, and then Moonlight, a little bit of Moonlight Tonight over Brooklyn. Got to hear the whole thing.
Ora di bianco vestito, ci all'uscio dischiude al gran sol, di gia con le rose sue dita, carezzo de fiori. Dancing on air in Canarsie,
Where I'm from.
and waltzing above Sheepshead Bay.
Feel like forgiving the Dodgers for moving from here to LA.
And finally, that is just, I mean, I wish that we had a piano so you could do this whole song, because it really demands a performance, but you'll go and you'll see it. The last comparison I have is Marechiare, which was by a composer named Tosti, and then the Bernadette Duet. And the Bernadette Duet, I don't even know how to comment on that. Well, you did a little bit, Anna, but it's also hilarious. The bridge duet, I guess he calls it. And well, you can just play it, Jade, and you can hear a little bit of the comparison.
Quando spunta la luna a Marechiare, pure le viscence fanno al lavoro. T'arrebotano l'onne del mare sulla priezza cagna d'oro. quando spunta la luna Marechiare.
On, 'tis the furnace of a passion burning wild and hot.
Let me be, let me by here.
No, I will not. If you flee, I will die here on this cursed spot. Juliet.
Don't you get, I ain't your freaking Juliet.
I tell you, this is your words, Nikita. I cap you what?
Yeah, I implore thee to let me restore thee.
Ignore me.
For I say thee, thou art truly Juliet.
You're not well, go to hell. Juliet. Yes, that's that fast one.
So how does it feel to be back? I mean, what are the audiences like now? Are they, the one I was at, they were practically stampeding, you know, they were so excited. Are you feeling the energy?
There's definitely nights we feel the energy. Generally, a good rule of thumb, I feel like there's trends of like Friday night crowd, Saturday night crowd. So you get that feeling, I feel.
Also, people like friends of mine that have come said they didn't realize how much they needed to laugh. And our show does a lot of laughter, and it's just really silly fun. And I think that's really important right now, that I think we could all use a show that kind of keeps it lighthearted and keeps us laughing and takes us away from things for just a minute. So that's been really lovely to hear people afterwards, like, I needed to do this. I really needed to have this night, which has been really cool.
Yeah, that is for sure. We certainly need more laughter.
Mm-hmm.
Were any of your families coming, or have they come?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some family coming in June, which would be very exciting. But they've seen the original run back when it first opened at the Art New York, and they adored it. But I've had so many dear friends from California deliberately flew out from California. I've had a friend from California every day about 2 weeks ago. So many surprises, didn't want to tell me, kept it a secret for months.
Oh my God.
Even talked to my family about it, said, we're going to New York, don't tell him, but these are the dates, just so you know. It was incredible. Wow. And so I couldn't ask for more. And I had friends that just came last week, out from New England, took hours and came out here. And everybody that's come to see it, it's just 2 hours of just forgetting your worries and your own lives and just having a blast, just laughing so much that so many people say, I have not laughed this long in quite some time, and this much in quite some time, which is always a great feeling to have, that our show can do that for folks and brighten spirits, and you see a lot of arms going over their partner's shoulders during those moments of love. And
well, yes,
what more can you ask for?
I said it's very touching. There are beautiful moments, like when Camille, Judy, just talks about her memories of Verona, and she gets very romantic and nostalgic, and then the scene with you.
And an escape for her, really.
Yes.
I mean, that's what she uses, food and the Verona and classical music. It's all, escapism for her, for which her life is, right? So we all do that to a certain extent, don't we?
Yes,
absolutely. Go do things we love. We go to a show because we love to escape for a minute. So it's kind of...
And I loved what you said. I suppose it was Mark's words about Puccini goes with white sauce and Verdi with red sauce. That was hilarious.
Well, you have to know who Puccini and Verdi are, right? Right, Verdi. You have to know who they are, right? So if you know that, you get it. I was going to say earlier, it's really interesting doing a comedy that, it's very... It's every night is a different audience, right? That's the beauty of what we do at live theater. That every single night, certain things get and our audience all has a character. Each night they're a different kind of character in our world, right? So it's very important to not change your comedy or go over the top because or push for laughs because you think you're not getting a laugh, but stay truthful and honest in the moment, because the next night something else will get a different laugh, So it's fun to really see the different characteristics that every single audience, a live audience, brings. That's the beauty of being in an audience of live people.
Exactly.
The different people that are there. It's great. Make up this crazy audience laughter.
And did you feel like did you ever feel depressed about possibly not doing the show again? Or it seems like you're also
Oh, absolutely.
pragmatic and optimistic, but
There were
Well-
moments, Mia.
well, mainly I think most importantly is we saw its meteoric, and I will actually say this, its meteoric rise within 5 weeks when we first started at the Arc New York. I mean, we've had unbelievable comparisons to other iconic shows, little shows that we know and love to this day. And it was going to this next round. It was going to a grander, it was going to reach to more audience members, and we were so excited for it. So that day, with all the tears in our eyes and that they told us that everything had to shut down, we said, is this it? And almost every single month, every single day, it existed and it happened, and it gained such traction. It can't stop now. It has to come back again. And I kept faith to the very day we got back into that rehearsal room at Theater 555, because I could not believe that so much time has passed and we are back here again in this room, and we are about to make this show happen again. So I can't believe that we're back. I still can't believe that we're doing this show again today.
no. Troy, what about you? Did you feel happy, sad, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we're back. There was a sadness that it's like, what if we don't come back? You just felt like we weren't finished. Like we had this little burst of like coming onto the scene for the 5 weeks that we were initially running. And then like we were going on to something bigger. And then we're supposed to go on to something bigger after that. So it's like, it was kind of depressing to think that like, oh, we won't get to finish whatever this thing is supposed to be. But also coming back was great, just emotionally for me to be able to be back in the room with everybody who I was in the room with the day everything shut down on March 12th was like, I mean, that was incredible. I felt like for me, I needed that part of me back with everybody. You know what I mean? As a healing kind of thing.
It seems like a family reunion almost.
Yeah.
We had a Zoom. We did have a Zoom halfway through the pandemic, I think, right? At one point we had a Zoom.
Yeah, and we had like little group messages here and there
We had
with everyone.
messages. We recorded the entire Moonlight tonight, right? We did
that's right. Forgot we did that.
Remember that? Yeah, and it's somewhere. It exists in the world somewhere. I'd love to see it.
Yeah,
but
it was a charity.
Yeah, it premiered.
It was for a charity
It
performance.
was for charity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was so much fun. So that little reunion, that moment, that reunion was so fun. But yeah, we just Zoom called one another from time to time. They just got the cast together and checked.
We're on a text chain together, a FaceTime
chain
together.
Well, it's a miracle that it. First of all, you all look exactly the same. I mean, it doesn't look like you aged. The pandemic was good. No, it's all younger.
Thank you, Mia.
And also, like you're also
We've been here for years.
And my all did and eating. Everybody looks so trim. I don't know. You fit into the costume so perfectly. Those dresses kill me. What do you think about?
That's because time just stopped. It didn't. The last few years don't exist.
Funny. What about Broadway? Is there any possibility? Because it's just as good, if not better, than on, let's just say, Music Man.
Oh,
Here's
you hear that,
hoping.
Hugh?
Sorry, I'm not a producer or an investor, but.
Well, listen, if you know any producers, tell them to come see the show and to talk to our producer. I mean,
You always hold on to hope, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's always
We would love to see it go to another level and see where it could go, because it has such potential to reach more audiences and to touch so many more people. And I think we'd all love to continue being in these roles and telling the story, because it's really needed right now and necessary on the Broadway scene, because there's nothing like that. Nothing like the show at the moment. And it would be a real shame to see it go. So I'm holding out hope that something will come along.
We do have 4 more weeks, so
Yes. Yeah.
we'll have till the 26th of June at this point.
Through the 26th
Right.
on
Yeah.
like Tuesday through Sunday,
Yeah.
right? And twice a day on.
And this was talked about recently, and you said this is there are so many fantastic Italian American stories that have come and gone on Broadway. You have anything from Bronx Tale, Jersey Boys, and this story, I believe, can fit the bill and move on as the next Italian American Broadway production that people will love and adore. And it is something different. It's something that's funny, and it's something that I think is necessarily needed at this time as we're trying to get back into the world of normalcy and the difficult times that we've had and are to a degree are still having to this day.
We're still testing every
are.
day, Mia. You know, we test. We do. All those of us who kiss someone in the show, we have to test it every single day.
Every day.
Every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And those who don't, every other day, which is still, you know,
A lot.
And when we get to the theater, we fill out health screenings before we can enter the theater. We still get temperature checked, wear our masks, disinfecting backstage, all of
Everyone
that.
backstage is masked. You know, if you're not on stage, then you're in a mask.
yeah. So we're very much still in the thick of it.
Mhm.
No one's out of it yet.
Yeah.
Because think about it, if we lose our work, that's the thing that gets frustrating with people. If we lose time, you're out 10 days of the show that you love and you want to work. So, you know, it's vital that we stay healthy and stay out of places that are, you know, super spreaders. And, you know, so that's another part of our job is really to stay away from those things and to stay healthy. That's really so we can be on
that you're all
stage.
healthy and that you've been through it for this period. It's fabulous. And also I want to just say before we close, because I could talk to you for hours, but it's so hopeful because, you know, there was so much death and there was so much gloom and there's so much going on in the world. And you talked about this, but just on a very small level of 1 or 2 families that, you know, were so far apart. It's that warring ethic, you know, management labor or 2 families, crime families, or whatever families, and just the idea that Anna's character, Bernadette, you know, she had that glimmer in the back, like, no, maybe this isn't right. Maybe I should follow my intuition, and that hopefulness of the romance of just following your heart, and that somebody can pursue somebody like Romeo did. That's a great idea. Like, let's persevere, you know.
You know, with that too, Mia, I want to say something because, you know, we do have guns in the show there because it's a mafia based show, right? So there's going to be comedy with that, right? But at the end, when Romeo says to the 2 families, gentlemen, put down your swords, right?
Yes.
The other night I was on stage and I literally got choked up thinking of the world and what we're in right now, and that we all need to see that with love, things can change if we come from an open-hearted place, right? 2 sides coming together, and that the end of our show, it can be pretty powerful at that point with what's going on right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a beautiful show, Romeo and Bernadette, 555 West 42nd Street Theater, and I cannot thank you enough, Nikita, Anna, Troy, Judy.
Thank you,
Jade.
Mia.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Mia.
you so much, Mia. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Jade,
I have to
thank
show
you.
you what I'm wearing today, Mia. If you can see
Oh, your socks!
that you gave us last time.
That's right.
Yes.
I still have mine.
Yes.
Well,
That's
people are coming.
fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining Mia's World, and we're going to go out of the show with another representation of the musicality and vibrancy of Romeo and Bernadette. So Jade, you can just go to it, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come and laugh.
Hi, I just got through seeing Romeo and Bernadette, and it is so wonderful. Lord knows in these times we need as much good times, and this is one good time.
This was a great show. It's the best show I've seen in a long time. It makes you feel good, makes you laugh.
We were crying, laughing. Great fun, great times.
Well, honestly, it was a great show.
Favorite character is Lips over here. It was just an amazing performance, amazing characters, amazing actresses.
I love the singing and the writing and the cast, and it was just so funny and so original. Definitely see it.
I laughed. I even cried a little bit. Some of it was very touching. It was very witty. It was funny. It was well written.
It really is a hit. I loved it. Now I'm coming to see it again.
Come here, like it's fun. It really was fun.
I think this was one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. I was born in Brooklyn, so I got so much of it.
I'm telling you, I'm from Bensonhurst. Oi, better than ever thought. See it now.